I want to talk about how to deal with confrontation. This is a shout out to Callum. This is a video he asked for on the YouTube channel in the comments. Once a week, I usually take a request to make videos on these topics. And this topic means a lot to me. I have two books here by Ellis, both which I have read. The first one is called How to Control Your Anger Before It Controls You. I've done a couple videos on this. And this is a recent one I just read, which is called How to Stop People from Pushing Your Buttons. Both of these books are great. On top of the books on the reading list, those books are the most important in that specific order, especially being the first book, How to Stubbornly Refuse to Make Yourself Miserable About Anything, Yes, Anything. If you're looking for that book, go to ocdrecovery.com underneath the resource section. But before I go any further, please subscribe, hit that like button. If you're interested in our webinar and coaching services, please email info@ocdrecovery.com and we'll get back to you in a timely fashion. If you want to see a webinar specifically on this topic, how to deal with anger, how to recover from serious anger creating beliefs, how to deal with confrontations, how to deal with those like random events that pop up, which happen all the time, where you kind of feel your blood pressure go up, I would love to do a webinar on that. This is something that really affected my life: road rage, yelling, trying to prove myself, screaming at people. So again, these two books, I'll put them up right here so you can pause it and take pictures of them, have been incredible for dealing with confrontation. So let's jump right into the most important part when confrontations arise, which they most certainly will. Now, there are a lot of information. There's a lot of information on social media telling you to avoid all confrontation. Now, there is a time and place to methodically analyze, not in an OCD sense, confrontation and take a stance that, hey, I've tried to better the situation. I tried to come with a rational perspective. It's not working. This is repeated confrontation that maybe an in-law or a parent or a brother or a sister or a friend that happens to be very argumentative, and you decide to distance yourself from that, but maybe not cut them out completely. Society is way too quick at just cutting people out. Ooh, you don't agree with me? I don't like the way that feels. Boom, you're gone. I don't want to deal with you. That's avoidance, and that's pure low frustration tolerance. Are there scenarios where cutting someone out of your life completely has merit? Of course, but that amounts for this much, this speck and the whole door behind me of space. It is a perpetuated belief system because people want to feel safe. So let's use the example of confrontation in life. Just things happen. Someone cuts you off in the parking lot and hits you. It's obviously their fault. They're the one that ran the stop sign. They hit you and they get out of the car and you're like, what the fuck, man? In a matter of seconds, that can trigger someone's blood pressure to just spike through the roof, which is a totally understandable perspective. So what do you do in these situations? Let's use a practical example from this book. Okay. I'm going to use the outline in this book because it's really good. Okay, how am I feeling right now? Frustrated, angry, resentful, rageful, almost like you want to freak out at that person. What am I irrationally thinking to myself to make myself overly angry? In this particular situation, overly angry. So you're telling myself, he should never do that. How dare they do that? Those idiots, I'll show them. I can't wait to get my insurance money from them. Oh, they're the biggest idiots. They're worthless pieces of shit. Okay? What am I irrationally thinking about the other person? That was more about the situation. They're evil. They're terrible. They're a stupid person. They're a moron. They don't deserve justice, etc., etc. What am I irrationally thinking about this situation in a grand scheme? Life isn't fair. I don't deserve this. Those principles of fairness and deserving this that unfortunately do not exist. I wish they existed, but they do not exist. How can I challenge my irrational thinking? Yes, the situation may not be fair. Yes, it's a mishap I might not be able to afford in a monetary way, but things happen. I can handle the situation whilst being frustrated and upset and approach the person in a way where it doesn't raise the temperature in the room. In that perspective, it doesn't mean that person's going to come back. This is such a good point. So people think when they work on this stuff that other people have to get this. That's the biggest misconception. So the world is obsessed with changing people's opinions. They're obsessed with changing your internal environment. It's a helpless pursuit. You're not going to do anything. A hopeless pursuit, it's zero. People can't even change their own behaviors, let alone change someone else's behaviors or perspectives. All you can do is approach them rationally and accept yourself if you blow your little bit, especially in the beginning. But getting your anger creating beliefs under control is so important, because anger creating beliefs are a major reason why people are in jail. It's a major reason why people commit crimes, resentful crimes, proving themselves. So it is really important to work on this to protect yourself from doing something fucking stupid. I can't tell you how much I had to work on this. So the other important factor in this, and this is the reason why there's so much avoidance recommendations on social media, is feeling the discomfort. Now, in this book, I'm going to go over them real quick. There are, where is it? And this is so key. The grim cost of anger. So this is why people don't like feeling the uncomfortableness that come with confrontation, right? And again, you can plug and chug any single example in this. Your kids, your family members, like your parents, your in-laws, strangers on the street, everything. So anger destroys personal relationships. That's a big one. This is why people like avoiding anger, okay? Anger disrupts work relationships, life relationships. Another reason why people avoid confrontation at all costs, okay? It makes difficult situations worse. So think about that situation where someone comes, I'm sorry if I'm like moving around, I'm literally sitting on snow right now and it's cold. So it makes those type of situations difficult to deal with. And when you blow your lid because you're telling yourself, I can't stand the way I feel, you blow your lid even more, and then you're just overly telling yourself, I can't stand this, the confrontation, this is so bad, what if things go wrong, what if they yell at me, all using that confrontation example in the parking lot, okay? Anger sparks aggression. Oh my God, I'm about to get into a confrontation, person gets out of the car, oh, blah, blah. When you go, well, bam, and you punch them, you're done. Now you're gonna get sued. Now you're gonna get a felony charge and everything else that comes in between. Sorry, my 20% battery just went on. So, that's really the main thing that I wanted to cover on that. But also, this is another big one, right? This is myths surrounding anger, but plug and chug confrontation. This one is actively expressing your anger reduces it, which is completely untrue. I can tell you the best thing I ever heard was practice anger if you want to get better at anger. Just on the other flip side of that, the other side of it is avoid confrontation is the best way to instill why you don't like confrontation. And that is a very, very important thing to cover. So on the flip side of that, the second one is myth is taking time out when you feel angry. And I could plug and chug with this is avoiding all situations that make you feel uncomfortable during confrontation. So the reason why these books are so good when it comes to confrontation is because people will do anything they can to avoid confrontation. They will avoid at all costs. And because confrontation comes with a level of discomfort that many people don't want to feel. Now, how do you expose yourself to these situations? You don't want to have to go out there and desperately look for confrontation, because that's not going to do anything. So you don't have to do that. The second piece of that is you can watch exposures of people that handle confrontation poorly and have gone to jail. That's a very good way to be like, oh, I should probably get this under control if the aspect of your confrontation is coming with a resentful anger outburst. The third piece of that is if you're avoiding confrontation, not so much getting in confrontation too much and then being angry about it, but you're avoiding confrontation, is looking at the situations that you avoid and going about methodically thinking about rational perspectives of approaching that person. So 99 out of 100 people, me including, for most of my life, and still to a degree, because it's something I've only been working on for 3 years, 2-3 years, is people will rationalize to death. They will rationalize why they don't want to talk to that person. They'll rationalize why that. Rationalization is not rational thinking. Rationalization is primarily avoidance. So rationalization is always in your favor. It's always in the favor of the person. Where rational thinking is not in the favor of you at all times. It could be in the favor of the situation or the other person, accepting them for who they are. Where rationalization comes from the perspective of, I don't want to have to deal with this. This is going to be too uncomfortable. What's the point? It's not worth it. Oh, I don't have to deal with that. And there are times and places for that, but it's primarily overused to a place where the person doesn't want to feel any sort of discomfort. And understanding that perspective is super key. So This is the summary for everything when it comes to confrontation. And confrontation in the avoidance manner, and confrontation in you do it too much and it's becoming an anger problem. Feeling the discomfort of confrontation. Thinking about rational perspectives when you go up to someone that maybe you've had continual confrontation with, plug and chug a family member, and realizing that they're probably going to respond in a way that might make the situation seem worse, but it doesn't have to get worse because your perspectives have already built into that people don't have to listen to you. On the other part of that, okay, if you are the anger type of confrontation like I was, like I didn't run from most confrontation. That's not true. I didn't run from the confrontations that I thought I needed to prove myself with, but when it came to confrontations about speaking about things rationally with my wife or other people, I would avoid them like the plague because I would rationalize. So I did do both. So figuring out what type of confrontation that you're engaging in could be both avoidance confrontation or anger confrontation, and then working on those particular things from a behavioral standpoint, realizing you're not going to get it right the first time, feeling all the discomfort that comes along with confrontation. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, these books have been very beneficial. The books on the reading list are the most important. These ones are very good as well. I will do a video if you want, comment down below, on going over all the books that I've read by Ellis. I believe it's about 9 of them now. I can make a really long video breaking down each one like a summary, or probably like a 30 or 40 minute video. But I think that video could be really important. And always remember the key to getting over your anger creating beliefs, and remember that nobody really makes us angry and no one really pushes our buttons primarily. We primarily push our own buttons. We primarily get ourselves mad, is understanding those principles, sitting with the discomfort, changing perspectives along the way, not trying to force it, and then really educating yourself on the belief systems and the behavioral patterns that you're engaging in. In my opinion, anger is handled horrendously incorrectly on social media and by anger management gurus, because almost all of it is avoidance. It's a short-term solution with avoidance. It's a short-term solution with low frustration tolerance. Long-term relief comes from facing discomfort, wearing discomfort, changing your opinions, approaching the people that you have confrontation with, and or putting yourself in situations, not compulsively, but things you're avoiding, and going about it that way. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to learn more about this, just comment down below. I can do more videos. And again, if you're interested in our webinar and coaching services, please email info@ocdrecovery.com, and we hope to hear from you soon. Have a good one, everyone.